friends, my name is Kay Lorraine, and today I'm doing my March book haul. In the month of March, I purchased quite a few books, but I anticipated that happening because there were quite a few new releases this month that I knew I wanted to get my hands on, so I'm so excited that I just went through and purchased them, which of course I had been hoarding some gift cards that I got from Christmas to make sure that I could get them all this month, so no damage. No damage. So I will go ahead and start with my most anticipated read of 2015, which is The Steep and Thorny Way by Kat Winters. Now, Kat Winters is one of my auto-buy authors. I absolutely love her work. She writes historical fiction with a paranormal aspect, and this is historical fiction with a paranormal aspect. This is a retelling of Hamlet, and Hannah Lee Denny, the main character, finds that her father's ghost is still haunting the town where she lives, and her father's murderer gets released from prison and tells her that things aren't quite what everyone thinks they are. This book was really interesting. There was a really great cast of diverse characters. The main character, Hannah Lee, is biracial, with her mother being white and her father being black. And there are some characters who are also gay, Joe Adder being one of them, and that really plays into the storyline and how he got kind of caught up with everything that's going on, as well as a Jewish sheriff or deputy. I can't remember if he's a sheriff or a deputy, but all of that really comes into play with the storyline and how everything comes together. And I just felt like it was really interesting to have that diverse cast of characters all kind of come together and everything tie together. And this book was just really interesting as usual. Kat Winters did a really great job researching this. If you can't already tell, I've read it. So maybe I should stop talking about it and save the rest for the wrap up. But yeah, loved this. Still will continue to buy more Kat Winters books because I love her. The next book that I picked up, which was also a new release this month, was On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Davis, and I have not read any of her work previously, but I really wanted to get my hands on this one because this is a science fiction, a YA science fiction, with a main character who has a diagnosis on the autism spectrum. So hearing that, I really wanted to pick this one up, and what's even more incredible about this is, I don't know if you've heard of the hashtag Own Voices, but it is artwork, books, poetry, stuff like that that is done by authors who actually have that experience. So Corinne actually has a diagnosis of autism, so I thought that was really interesting, and I am very excited to see how that reflection is done in this book, and I'm just excited to see that type of diversity displayed in a young adult novel, and I can't wait to see if this book is as amazing as everyone says it is, because I've heard some really great reviews on it. The next books that I picked up are actually comic books, and that is The Rift Volumes 1, 2, and 3, and this is a continuation of the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which I am absolutely obsessed with. I love it. It is one of my favorite animated series of all time, so I definitely want to own all of the comics. Right now I have The Promise, and I've read it. I now have The Rift, and yes, I read it. And soon I will have The Search, which follows Zuko finding his mother, and I am so excited about that one because that is a plot line that just never got figured out towards the end of that series, so I'm excited to see more of that. But yeah, picked up The Rift Volumes 1, 2, and 3, and I do not regret it because they were amazing, and I tore right through these. I also picked up Out of the Easy by Ruth Yesepetys, and I have read Between Shades of Grey by her, and I heard that she was coming to CFest, so I wanted to go ahead and pick this one up so I can get it signed by her on top of Between Shades of Grey. Haven't read it yet, but I definitely intend to. Unfortunately, she was only there on Friday, and the public event that was open to people like me, who weren't students, was on Saturday, so I did not get to get this book signed or talk to her or meet her or anything, which kind of stinks, but I'm still happy to have this in my possession. I'm probably going to hold off on reading this one until summer. It is a YA historical fiction, but it's set in New Orleans, aka one of my most favorite cities in the entire world. But yeah, I am going to save this for summer because it looks like a really summery cover, and I'm weird like that, and if a cover looks summery, I only want to read it in the summer. I attended an author event earlier this month with Victoria Schwab, Jessica Corey, Ryan Groudon, Beth Revis, and Delilah S. Dawson, and I just loved her discussion on the panel. It was so interesting, in which she talked about this particular book, Hit. I knew I had to have it. This is, I think it's a YA. I think it's a YA with crossover appeal to adult but it follows a main character who signs a credit card contract and does not look at the fine print and finds out that she now has to be a hitman and go kill a certain amount of people. And I definitely wanted to pick this one up when she mentioned that her inspiration came from an episode of South Park, and I was just like, okay, I need to read that, and my fiance needs to read that because he loves South Park, so I might actually get him to read a book this year. I've been trying to get him to read Ready Player One for a really long time now, but maybe this is the one because South Park, so maybe it will happen. In preparation of CFest, I also picked up Beware the Wild by Natalie C. Parker, and this is a book that I have been eyeballing since it came out, and I just decided to just get it, have it in my possession because Natalie C. Parker was going to be at CFest, and I was like, okay, I'll have the chance to meet her, I can go get it signed, and then I'll have the book and I can read it. And I'm really excited about this one because it's set in a swampy area and it's like in the south, and this is another one of those books that's probably going to be like really summery, but I don't know, I might read it right away. It's just, the cover is stunning to me. It's got like some fireflies and swamp and just, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And when she signed it, she put a little gator in it, which is so cute. So, little gator there at the bottom. So stinking cool. And I am not going to pull this one out because it is an incredibly integral part of my bookshelf that is holding everything else up. But I also picked up The Unbound by V.E. Schwab, and I picked that up at the CFest event because it is the only Schwab book that I don't own, except for The Near Witch, which I will probably never own, sadly, because I don't think it's in print anymore, which stinks. But I went ahead and picked that one up, got it signed, and now I own all of her books that are still out on the market, and I'm very excited to be a V.E. Schwab fangirl because I have no shame. I jumped on that bandwagon late, and I love her, and she's amazing. Done. And because I didn't say, that is the sequel to The Archived by V.E. Schwab, which I absolutely loved and I read last year, and I'm very excited to jump back into that world and see what Mac is up to. And I also picked up A Tyranny of Petticoats, which is a YA historical fiction anthology, that is a mouthful, edited by Jessica Spotswood, and she also has a story in here. And when I heard about this anthology, I was immediately excited because it includes so many authors that I absolutely love, and it includes historical fiction, short stories, following amazing female characters. Like, you just like checked off all of my boxes for things that I love in a book. So I'm very excited. I've already read quite a few of the stories in here, and this is by far one of my favorite YA anthologies I have ever read. So if you really enjoy historical fiction, I highly recommend picking this one up. And definitely start with Robin Talley's story because I think that might be my favorite out of all of them so far, and it was amazing. But some of the authors that are included in this anthology are, of course, Jessica Spotswood, Robin Talley, Marissa Meyer, Elizabeth Weed, who wrote Codename Verity, which is possibly one of the best historical fictions and friendship novels that has ever been written, just putting that out there for you. Who else is on here? Leslie Walton, who wrote The Strange and Beautiful Lives of Ava Lavender? Sorrows, not Lives. Which is a really popular book on BookTube. Haven't read it, but maybe that'll catch your attention. I am loving this so far. It's really incredible. And finally, I picked up Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli on audiobook. Yeah. Oh my god, I've had too much coffee. But I already listened to this. This is a YA coming out story that is so incredible. You can totally tell Becky has a background in counseling and therapy because she really looks into the feelings that go behind that, and I just really loved that this was a happy coming out story. It had its difficult moments because coming out is never easy, but it still had this great supportive feel and this happiness to it that I feel like isn't the norm in literature like that, which it's important to have the stories that do show the hardships and some of the tragic things that do happen, but you know, you don't want to play into the trope that all people on the LGBT plus spectrum lead tragic lives. So I just really appreciated that, and I just loved how humorous it was and how there was this great exploration of relationships, whether it be romantic, family relationships, friendships, relationships with like an enemy and stuff like that. It was just incredible, like the detail that she gave to relationships and how those get built up. I really liked it, and of course I need to cool my jets and save it for the wrap up, but I'll just go ahead and fangirl for a minute and just say like, oh, so good, like so worth the hype, so totally worth the hype. But that's it for today's video. As always, I will leave information in the down bar below so you can check out my Goodreads, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, and that's all I've got for today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay weird.